right. Let me get relaxed right now. Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say call on Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Ruach Kwadash, giving all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, art the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the God of Gods. There is no God besides him. And, only the ones that he had made, which are which are Yahweh Shai, which is his only begotten son, and then he had made the holy angels, and then he made the lower gods, the Israelites. Much love to Yahweh Shai, his only begotten son, whom the world ignorantly calls other names that don't have no power. And they call him other names that don't have no power and they don't have no authority, and whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ currently. Much love to who had died for the sins of Israel, so that they may be acquitted and they may be brought into the new covenant. And they the only nation granted for a salvation. And much love to the Israelites, whoever they may be among the children of Israel, the chosen children of Israel, and whoever they may be. Much love to the brothers of the new covenant, the Akim, and they do everything in their power to show Yahweh B'Ashem Yahushua that they love him and they fear him. They break down precepts for us. They break down they unlock the secrets of the Bible through deep study. They keep up with current events, and they the angels to get us into the new covenant so that we may be clean and saved. Much love to the beautiful sisters, the Akwaf, and whether you got a man or not, you still follow the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh. You listen and you learn in silence. Coming back at you with another video through the power and spirit of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai in the name Yahweh Shai. And today's video is called Religions of the World, False Gods, and Monstrosities. And the reason why this came up is because I've been thinking about the gods of this world, the idols of this world, and knowing that they the imaginations of men, because our imaginations are limited, as vast and as big as our imaginations can go. And I've seen some bizarre shapes that imagination can take through the thoughts of men. I've experienced it myself. Got a pretty unique imagination. We all do, but it is limited. It is limited. It's not like the angels in heaven. It's not like Yahweh Shai. It's not like Yahweh Ba'Ashem Yahweh Shai. Well, kind of for us, those of us that are in the truth, that understand and know these things, we know that, there are other, forms of life that Yahweh B'Ashem Yahweh Shai created. We know that there are different realities and all of that. But, due to us being earthbound and, all the things that we've done, the Lord has taken a lot of that knowledge away. So we can, I can grab that real quick. Let me see if I can remember the verse. How to put it? Well, that's a good one too. It says the fear of Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So, with that being said, at this point, we kind of the fools, the Israelites, because we reject that knowledge. So, that knowledge is to help us understand the world around us and worlds beyond, but due to us being the way that we are, we are limited to our knowledge. Now, the reason why I bring this up, this is a good one. Romans chapter 11, verse 33, it says, "Oh, the depth of riches, both of the wisdom and the knowledge of Yahweh. How unsearchable are his judgments and his ways past finding out." That's a good one. And it says Psalms 19, verse 1 through 2, it says, "The heavens declare the glory of Yahweh, and the firmament showeth his handiwork." It says, "Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge." I done had a brain for it. Sucks. But let me not stray from what I was talking about. Okay, but our knowledge is limited to what we can perceive with our imagination. So this is why I brought this to you today. And mainly, I wanted to focus on the false idols and the monstrosity and what they look like. They look like monstrosities, which they are. It's pretty one and the same, the subject, but at the same time, I wanted you to understand why these idols are nothing but wood and stone and the machinations of men. And even with the religions of the world themselves, even though that they are in their respected place, because the Lord allowed the nations to believe in what they wanted to believe because he really didn't care. He allowed them to do what they wanted to do, even if it wasn't right. He just wanted the children of Israel to worship him because they are the gods that he created. They are his children, and by right, by right they must worship him because he is their God. He is the heavenly Father. So we can start with this religion, and as you can see, this is Zoroaster. This is just a man. And Zoroaster is the belief in two gods that make one, I do believe. So we could go ahead and grab some of this. As you can see, he's standing on this lizard or whatever, but he's supposed to be this. Wait, let's get the accurate what it actually says about him. See, look, this is one of the examples I can use too. So look at all of this before we get some of his background. This is the machinations and the imaginations of men. And this is what it says. Mr. Mythopedia presents beings and figures within Persian mythology. So, for some strange reason, like how it says that the nations are the beast of the earth, the beast of the earth. So with that being said, they are equivalent to the animals of the world. So if you understand and you know this dynamic, is that it wouldn't be no surprise that they worship animals and they see them as gods. So as you can see, these are all spirits or idols or gods and Persian mythology on their side. But as you can see, they are limited to their imaginations because the most dominant form that Yahweh had made on the earth is man. That is the most dominant form. Now, if he made other like forms of life forms that we don't know about yet that dwell on the earth, because the earth is so vast, and there are places on the earth that you cannot go to. You just can't. and even the government, and even the white man is wary of that. It's certain places that the Yahweh won't allow you to go. And like the Lord said, it's men in heaven, and it's men on earth, and it's men under the earth. So you have a lot of, you might have different life forms that dwell under the interior of the world, which is true. So oh, my legs are so itchy right now. My goodness. The heat. So, but as you can see here, this is what they worship. So this is Persian mythology. We can read some of them. Rakish, mighty steed of hero Rostam, and these are animals and things that they worship. And this is Kaveh, the blacksmith, hero of Shahnameh and slayer of Zohek. Rostam, hero of epic poem. Shah Nahem or Namin, or Ruk, enormous legendary bird of prey, these animals that don't exist. Huma bird of fortune, story aloft, stays aloft its entire life. Oh, look at this. Puri, winged fairy-like spirits ranking between angels and even spirits. That's not true. That thing doesn't exist. Chamarish, a winged dog like creature that gathers seeds from the tree of life. And it is a dog with wings, which is ridiculous because dogs do not fly. Dogs are ground animals. They can leap, but they can't fly. You feel me? So we can get another one. The Zahak, a legendary evil snake boulder king. So if you look at him, he got a snake wrapped around him, or two-headed snake or whatever on Zahag, but it's a man that with a snake around him. So you see how the imagination of men is more earthbound. And it goes on and on. Look, Jabrag, night-colored, purebred steed of the hero, Sidewash, whatever. Kiyumar's first person in creation. Lie. That's a lie right there, but this is what they believe. As you can see, he on a coin or whatever. Barely got an image, but it's an image of a man. And Kurkadan, ferocious rhino-like monster. Its horn could cancel out poisons. It doesn't exist. Monster doesn't exist. And Hayosh, primeval ox from Zoroastrian tradition that continually raided Iran. That's stupid. That didn't exist. Not no multi. Well, that there might be a possibility with the horns and all of that, and the creature, mighty ox. But other than that, it's probably just a fable. As Daha, gigantic snake-like creature living in the air and in the sea and on the earth, and equivalent to a dragon. Man, get that shit out. Get it out of here. Fulad Zurray, and it's just a lizard. That's just a lizard, bro. That is an ox. That's all that is. Kirkaden, a huge rhino monster. It could have just been a giant, powerful rhino. Falad Zurray, huge horned female kidnapping demon in the Persian story of Amar Arasalan. Ridiculous. But look how, we're going to go to other examples too, but look how bound they are. And they trying to create these multiple life forms, but they are bound to the image of man and beast. It's nothing more. They can't just imagine a new life form without having this type of form or this type of setup. And this is what they tried to do. But as you can see, it's just, to me, it's just like madness, because this is what you worship. And this is just a part of the world and the realms that the Lord had created. A demon, wrong gods of Iranian Zoroastrian tradition. Is just a fat man. That's all that it is. So we can go, let's see the purpose of Zoroastrian. We know false prophet or false idol, as you can see, try to make him seem important like he God. and whatnot. So we going Ahura Mazda. Wait, that's a good one. There we go. Another. This is an ancient Zoroastrian god, Persian, Iran. This is another example of exactly what I'm talking about. As you can see, they tried to copy a lot of work from the Bible, as you can see by the way he looked and his appearance. Look, and he's supposed to be. Oh yeah, this is in the Apocalypse of the Gods for this anime. I think it's called. I forgot what it's called, but it's called the Apocalypse of the Gods or whatever. This side spinoff of this main anime, but Ahura Mazda is a duality god, two and the same gods. If God is good and he's evil, which that is true, but what they did was create another god that was separate from that. So now you can see, and he has multiple arms with wings, and he has three heads, and yeah, you know, as they try to transcend, the limits of what a man can do, but come on now, multiple arms and all of that. I only believe the images that's canon in the book of Ezekiel, which, the head of an ox, the head of a man, and then the other part of it is the head of a bird, and that could be figuratively speaking. We know that the angels, they do have three heads, but at the same time, it can be figuratively speaking on how much power and knowledge that they have. So we really don't know, but the book of Ezekiel tells you what angels look like. But at the same time, it could be a figurative speech to their image, and how powerful their minds are. So with that being said, as you can see, Ahura Mazda is this angel guy with multiple arms. He got three heads and he got like six wings. Yeah, it's limited. It's limited to the imagination of men. Is limited. And this is ridiculous. Would you worship this? No. And we can get a little bit of image on that. It says Ahura Mazda is the supreme uncreated creator god in Zoroastrianism. His name literally translates to wise lord, Ahura meaning lord, and Mazda meaning wisdom. It says he is revered as the ultimate source of all light, goodness, truth, and order. And then it says, let's get a little bit more information on this shit. It says, also known as Ormazd or Hormazd is the principal god and sky deity of Zoroastrianism. He is the first and most frequently invoked spirit in Yasna. The literal word meaning Ahura and Mazda are Lord and wisdom, respectively. But, as you see, he's just a man, with wings, and yeah. And then we can get and then at the same time, let's just say that the spirits behind these idols give them power. The demons, and demon means knowledge, or you could say evil spirit, which is more suitable, or a spirit that's behind these idols and these monstrosities and these ideologies. They give them, to a degree, some form of life, but all that the actual idol is just an idol. So but there are powers that are beyond that give them that invitation that they are gods. So we can go ahead and grab another god, and then we could just look up what Zoroastrianism is. It says Zoroastrianism is a monotheistic religion centered on one supreme uncreated creator deity, which is dumb. It says, while ancient Persians history featured a pantheon of gods, it says the prophet Zoroaster reformed this tradition, focusing on the worship of an entirely single God. So he believed in monotheism, which is the belief in one God. It says, alongside a network of spiritual beings and personified attributes. But this God don't exist, and his was like a spinoff of Yahweh, because it says, I kill, I make alive, I create light, I create darkness, I Yahweh do all these things. So the Lord is light and darkness. He is the devil and he is God at the same time, and he is good and he is evil. But the Lord says in the Bible, overall, I am good, I am ever what to say, I am long suffering, I am a generous God, and I am not a God that is far off, I am a God that's at hand. So the Lord said, I'm not a bad person, this is just who I am, which is explains the balance between life and death, between war and peace, between good and evil on the earth, and the things that happen on the earth, and how the balance is very perfect. The balance is perfect. Reincarnation, life, death, and rebirth, all these rules that keep the earth bound. The sun comes up, the sun goes down. And if the right alignment is right, then the moon comes out when the sun comes up, because we know that the moon and the sun are not totally polar opposites. Sometimes the sun still be up and the moon be right alongside of it, because they not governed by the light and the darkness of the world. And the light and the darkness of the world is its own entity, but it's at a perfect balance. So with that being said, it is representation of a perfect balance, perfectly balanced. But overall, he is a good God. He is the only God. He is the ultimate, and this is what they're trying to explain. But they made a spinoff of who of they owned version of God, which is like a fake version that don't exist. And Zoroaster is probably still around to this day, but at the same time, it's not big. It's not big like it used to be. It's probably still practiced to this day, but it's not big. It's not like in style like it used to be. And unfortunately, a lot of these religions are nothing but money grabs and to give the people what they want. And, people desire to worship, and people like mysticism and mystery. So, people buy this stuff. People like these stories. I like the stories, but I know they're fake. I like the stories. I don't mind the gods and all of that, but I know that it's not real. And that's where the confusion comes in, at where people actually worship these idols, these monstrosities and these religions. They actually worship them, and they live by these foolish ideologies. It's just dumb. So now the next god is one of the gods that I hate the most. And that's the god that looks like a damn mosquito and a bird at the same time. And one that they keep trying to govern and pretty much say that Thoth is the son of God. That's pretty much what they're trying to do. So we're going to get a little bit about him and what he looks like and why this is a damn joke. Oh, give me a moment. I need a snack. And then we're going to read a couple of precepts on how the Lord feel about these items. Oh, I need to look up the Djao too. That shit is ridiculous. It's a man with a tumor for an eye, and he can see the past, present, and future. Ridiculous, bro. It says Thoth is the ancient Egyptian god of wisdom, writing magic, and the moon. It says, I thought he was the sun god, so I need to who's the sun god, or who's the sun worship that they be trying to say that's the son of God in the Bible. It says Thoth is the ancient Egyptian god of wisdom, writing magic, and the moon. Known to the Egyptians as the Dehudi, or however you pronounce that, he served as the divine scribe, maintaining cosmic order and recording the verdicts of the dead in the afterlife. Oh, so he kind of like Anubis. I was wrong about that. The more you know. Oh, an ibis head. Oh, okay. But they do compare Egyptian mythology with the Bible, which is stupid. Look, it says Thoth in the Koine Greek. Thoth borrowed from the Coptic Thoth, ancient Egyptian duety, or the reflex. He is like an ibis, is an Egyptian deity. In art, he was often depicted as a man with the head of an ibis or a baboon, and sacred to him. Animals sacred to him. His feminine counterpart is Sashat, and his wife Ma'at. He is the god of the moon, wisdom, knowledge, and writing, and hieroglyphs, and science, and magic, and art, and judgment, which is retarded. And that's what he looks like. He has the head of a bird and the body of a man. If he was a god, he would take another form that's outside of man and beast. But this is the idea that the Egyptians came up with, and they ran with it. So a black man with the head of a African or a Hamite with the head of a bird that looked like a mosquito, which is dumb. Let's read a little bit about more about him. Thoth's chief temple was located in the city of Hermopolis. Ancient Egyptian, it says Egypt, Egyptological Egyptological pronunciation. It says Kemenu, Coptic, or Shimon, later known as El Shimon Nian, in Egyptian Arabic. I suck. I suck. Arabic. There you go. The temple of Thoth was mostly destroyed before the beginning of the Christian era. Yeah, because the Lord had put an end to that madness. Its very large pronos was still standing in 1826, but was demolished and used as fill for the foundation of a sugar factory in mid 19th century. That's what the Lord did, because he was never real. Now, if he was real, he would fight the Lord and defend his place, but he wasn't real. And look what the Lord did. Thoth played many vital and prominent roles in Egyptian mythology, such as maintaining the universe, which he didn't, and being one of two deities, the other being Ma'at, who stood on either side of Ra's solar bark, Bakui. In the later history of Egypt, Thoth became heavily associated with the arbitration of godly disputes, the arts of magic, the system of writing, and the judgment of the dead. And I don't get it, because isn't Anubis the god of the underworld and the judge of the dead? Can't have two. Come on, man. Well, you see what God did to him. I hate him. And people relate him to the Bible too, or relate Egyptian mythology to the Bible. And white man love Egyptian mythology. He's in love with this shit. It's ridiculous. We can look up some images of this weird nigga. There you go. That's what they worship. That's what they worship. A black man with the head of a bird. or he a monkey. And these poor animals, and they worship these poor animals, and these poor animals are just birds. They're just animals that the Lord created, and their job is to live and enjoy paradise. That's their job, and they are worshipped as gods when they just animals. Just look how stupid it is. He got the head of a bird in the body of a black man, and he ripped. Look at this. How could you worship this? This is stupid. Let me get that Bible precept. Hold on. All right, this is what the Lord got to say about these strange creatures and these stupid ideologies that these people actually took seriously, and at one point in time used these idols to govern the world. Yes, it says Leviticus chapter 26 verse 1. It says, "Ye shall make you no idols or graven images, neither rear you up a standing image, neither shall you set up any image of stone in your land to bow down unto it. For I am Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, your God." Even though it says the Lord your God, his name is supposed to be there. I am is Yahweh in Paleo Hebrew. Um, it says, "I am your salvation," or "I am Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the Lord your God. You shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am Yahweh." It says, "If ye walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them, then I will give you the rain in due season, and the land shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit, and your threshing shall reach unto the vintage, and the vintage shall reach unto the sowing time, and ye shall eat the bread to the full, and dwell in your land safely." Meaning, by the commandment of the Lord, no enemy shall come against the children of Israel, and your land is going to yield up all kinds of fruits, all kinds of vegetables, all kinds of plants, fruits, and all of this had very, very powerful medicines, very, very powerful antidotes, antioxidants, everything that you needed to not only make sure that your body is healthy and clean, but to allow you to live longer, cures from disease, all kinds of ailments. Okay, that way the children of Israel would be taken care of, and they would stay clean, and they could live for a long time, probably 100 years. Probably 80 to 100 years, probably even longer. In ancient times, and this go for all people. In ancient times, the Lord allowed people to live to 900 to 1,000 years old, and that was normal. So the fact that we all dying, and that's a curse upon all men. The fact that we dying at the age of 80 or 70 nowadays, the Lord is so angry at our people, and our people is so exposed and radiated by the world that a lot of us is dying at 7, a lot of us dying at 13, a lot of us dying at 20, dying younger and younger, not even making it to old ripe age of 70, or 80, it barely even that. So, like I said, how it said, "My spirit shall not dwell with man, for he is indeed flesh." So he cut down his days from 900 to 1,000 to be around barely 100 years. And then that your body is so messed up from the foods and the different medications and the different drugs that you can be exposed to, and all of this fake food, that your body will wither before you do. Before your spirit is eternal, so it doesn't age, but the body does. Your body is going to fail you at some point, especially if you don't work out, you don't eat right, you don't take care of yourself, your body will fail you at some point, because of the world that we live in right now, and the nation that we live in. They are what the white man did was uh, 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 put more drugs in the food to get you addicted to fast food, to get you addicted to unhealthy foods. And all of these unhealthy foods got different drugs, got too much sugar pumped into it, different chemicals to preserve it. Canned good will last from 1999 all the way to 2098. Hell no, that food is been expired, but because it's in the canned good and it got the chemicals in it, it preserved itself, and you can still eat it, which is disgusting because it's been long gone expired, long gone. I done seen apples with no cores, barely no core in it. I done seen oranges that last, instead of them being rotten within a couple days, they lasting for months. Giant GMO oranges. Come on, man. Come on, man. And I told my sister, I said, something wrong with this orange. Don't have your kids eating this orange. Why is it not rotten yet? And I knew it, lab grown oranges. This shit nasty. And she still went and ate them anyway. Gave her to her kids and they ate them anyway, right in my face. She didn't care. She didn't care. And I looked at that shit. I'm like, I ain't eating that. That's nasty, man. So that was a part of the curses too, was to take away our health, to take away our medicines, things that we can use to cure ourselves of any ailments, cysts, cancer, you balding at a certain age, you having Alzheimer's, or you having sexual transmitted disease. All of this is in the food. All of this is in certain plants. And you can get all this was for free, but because of what we did with Yahweh, the Lord had took it and gave it to the enemy, and the enemy profited off of it instead of leaving it for free. Like free energy, free medicine, free Medicare. Nowadays they got these big hospitals. You got Medicaid and medication insurance. Like, what is all of this? Like, was not in ancient times at all. Well, for the Israelites, it wasn't for them, but they did have to go into slavery where enemies did govern over all of this. And the Lord had showed them what it was like when your enemy is ruling over you, and how greedy and how evil they can be, and with the Israelites, everything for them was free. Everything for them was free, even water. Nowadays they want to raise taxes on water. That's what they want to do. That's the rumor that's going around right now, because they talking about these AI power plants that's sucking up all the water. So now, how can you buy water, something that's meant to be designed for free? This white man is trying to put a bag on that, and he already did, which is even more retarded. They sell all these kind of waters. They sell all these variety of waters when water is one of the main things that's designed for free. And they putting all labels on it, and they making you buy water, which is ridiculous. And then they want to up it to where a cup of water is they want to sell you cups of water at some point, to where you are take the water away, period. And but the Lord said, He ain't gonna let them survive after all this. They're gonna pay the most grievous price. But the Lord, He will maximize these famines. These things will take place. So it says, and I will give you peace in the land, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. That's right. No enemy shall come up against them, because they will pretty much, as long as Yahweh is over them, they'll be pretty much invincible. That's true. It says, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid, and I will rid the evil beast out of your land. Evil beast is referring to the nations. It says, neither the sword go through your land. It said, no war. And ye shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. Meaning that the Israelites was taking over nations even greater than them, because it was in the power of their hands to do so. The Lord allowed them to. And 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall chase, 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight, and your enemies shall fall before the sword, because they had powers, they had abilities, they had super strength. Yes, this is true. For I will have respect unto you and make you fruitful and multiply you and establish my covenant with you. And a part of that covenant was powers to be gods on the earth. Yes, that is true. And ye shall eat old store and bring forth the old because of the new. It says, and I shall set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. That's right. He set his promises and his spirit on us, and the Lord did not hate us. He loved us even when we was wrong, and we are in the wrong right now. He still loves us. It says, and I will walk among you, and I will be your God, and you shall be my people, only the children of Israel. I am the Lord Yahweh your God, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, that ye should not be their bondmen. That's right. And I have broken the bands of your yoke and made you go upright, a yoke of iron, broken the bands and the shackles that kept you bound, that you don't have to serve the Egyptians and the Hamites and their gods no longer. So it says, and made you upright. They stood up, they fought back. It says, but you, if you will not hearken unto me and will not do all these commandments, and all these were simple commandments just to keep us clean, and ye shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments, so that you will not do all my commandments, but that you break my covenant. It says, I will also do this to you. I will also, no, I will even appoint over you terror, consumption, and the burning ague. It says that shall consume the eyes and cause of the sorrow of the heart, and you shall sow seed in vain. From your enemies you shall eat it. That's what's happening right now. Way back in the past it was happening, and way back and way in the future it's happening now. It says, and I will set my face against you, and ye shall be slain before your enemies, that they that hate you shall reign over you, and you shall flee when none pursueth you. That's right. It says, and if you will not yet for all this hearken unto me, then I will punish you 7 times more for your sins. So he made it worse, which is now today. You got these people taking over. They want to take away the dollar. They want to take away your daily freedom to walk and gad about. They want to give you curfews. They want to take away they want to take away your food. That way you can't even eat a variety of food. They want to replace your food with insects and GMOs and more fake food. You feel me? They even want to take the style of the food away from you. Give you probably make you eat center blocks filled with chemicals and crap, and the food don't have no more form, but they got all the food in they underground palaces or whatever they gonna stay at, and they got the water, they have everything. They got all the riches, they got everything, they got the actual meat. They don't eat processed meat, these people, that he allowed these wicked people to rule over us, you know and they have everything, but they tell you that you're wrong. For you, this is a perverse, wicked person. This is what these white people are doing. And then it's so bad to where the white people that's not racist and that's not evil, they can't even control their own people. They can't even control their own wickedness. They can't stop these people. So it says, and I will, and it says, and if ye will not yet for all these things hearken unto me, you don't listen. It's that simple. It says, then I will punish you 7 more times for your sins, and I will break your pride, the pride of your power, and I will make you your heaven as iron and your earth as brass. Right. He taking everything away, putting us into slavery. It says, and your strength shall be spent in vain, for your land shall not yield her increase, neither shall the trees of the land yield their fruits. That's true. You ain't gonna be able to benefit off nothing that you do, which is how we are today. Nothing that we do we can truly benefit off of. Even though chance cometh upon men toward the Lord, now he's so lenient because it was so extreme during slavery times, and this slavery that we went through was so extreme and bad. Yahweh had lightened up on this. So now Israelites, you got rich Israelites. You got Israelites that got their own businesses. You got Israelites that make their own money. You got Israelites that come from the bottom and then come from the top. It's that simple. But back in the days, and now still today, it varies for us all, because we had to carry out our judgments. But like it says in the Bible, better of an end of a thing than the beginning of it, because now it's over. We at the end point of all of this. And a lot of things are going to take place, but we know that as soon as the Lord is done with us, when it's over for the house of Israel, what's going to happen to the rest of the nations? And it's going, and like the Lord said, they gonna have it 10 times more worse. They gonna have it much worse. And even the last nation, which is the white man, the one that the Lord wants the most, he's gonna have it the worst of all. It's true. So it says, and if you walk contrary to me and will not hearken unto me, I will bring 7 times more plagues upon you, according to your sins. I will also send wild beasts among you, that's the nations, which shall rob you of your children and destroy your cattle, and make you few in number, and your highways shall be desolate. It says, and if you will not be reformed by these things, but will walk contrary unto me, then I will also walk contrary unto you, and will punish you 7 times more for your sins. It's gonna get worse, like it is now today. The rest of the 2/3 do not acknowledge the Lord. They don't pray to him. Some of them don't even go to the highways and byways. They don't believe in him. They believe in gods. They believe in stork neck birds like this man. They believe in this. They believe in these things. They believe in everything else other than Yahweh. They don't even want to call him by his real name. They just call him God. They don't even know who he is. If you call him God, you don't know who you worship. You just worship God, whoever that may be, whatever spirit might answer you. So it says, and I will bring a sword upon you that shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant. And when you have gathered together within your cities, I will send the pestilence among you, and you shall be delivered into the hand of your enemy. So it just keeps going. But the Lord is very angry, very, very angry. And it's right here. And he specifically told us the consequences of what could happen to us. So we're going to leave this Birdman alone, and we're going to move into another one that's even more confusing. So look at this nigga, man. Look at what they worship out there in India. His name is Ganesha, and it's an elephant. Look how limited their imagination is. This shit madness, man. Look at that. That's what they worship. That's in India. And he got multiple arms. Come on now. Could you make these gods look more different, more godlike? More godlike. Come on now. Some other being other than an animal or a man. They can't do that because their imaginations are limited. They can't do that. Some fat god with a whole bunch of jewelry on. He got multiple arms, and he is a elephant. He has the head of an elephant. It says Ganesha, also known as Ganesh or Ganapati, is one of the most revered deities in Hinduism. Easily recognized by his elephant head, he is celebrated as the remover of obstacles, the patron of arts, and sciences, and the god of wisdom, intellect, and auspicious beginnings. Read a little bit about this. This is just madness. It says Ganesha or Ganesh, also known as Ganapati, Vinayaka, and Pilayar, is one of the best known and most revered and worshipped deities in the Hindu pantheon, and is the supreme god in the Ganapatya sect. His depictions are found throughout India. Hindu dominations worship him regardless of afflictions. Ganesha also holds the title of Pratham Puja, the god to be worshipped initially before the worship of any other deity. They worship a lot of deities. So this is the first one to worship. This is ridiculous. It says devotion of Ganesha is widely diffused and extends to Jains and Buddhists beyond India. This is demonic. And it's like, would you worship this? Like, this is crazy. And this is what they worship: God of new beginnings, wisdom, luck, remover of obstacles. And it's a spirit. Definitely, it's a spirit controlling it, behind it. The image isn't real, but the spirit that's supporting it is real. And best believe these people think that they know, but they don't. They don't. To me, they don't have no idea of the spirits that are behind these the images of these deities. And what they are meant to do. And what the fuck? And what they meant to do and what their purpose is. All right, we can move on from. Well, we can see some more images of this crazy god. Wood and stone. Worshiping that thing. That's even more demonic. But gods of wood and stone, they don't exist. They don't have no power to save. They were made by the imaginations of men. And as you can see, it is very limited. Fat gods and shit. Speaking of fat gods, there you go. And rumor have it, this idol was black before it was white. I mean, it can make sense because of the hair. The hair is curly, like black people curly. So that can make sense too. But the next god is Buddha. And this is a god of stone and wood too. And is a man with giant keloids. Ain't nobody worshiping this nigga, man. It look like a lazy god to me. I mean, this is all to the respectable nations, but coming from someone that knows the truth, and this is what the Lord was talking about. This is what he was talking about. The gods of wood and stone. Because the Lord definitely appointed one image, and that one image is man. It's just one image that is dominant above all the life forces that he created on the earth. It's man. So let's go to what this nigga is. It says Siddhartha Gautama, most commonly referred to as the Buddha, it says was a wandering ascetic and religious teacher who lived in the eastern Indo-Gangetic plains during the 6th or 5th century BC and founded Buddhism, and probably made it up, you know, and sold it to these people because that's how it works. That's how religion works. Another God that doesn't exist. And the funny part about it is that the Lord had already appointed gods over the world, but the world rejected the children of Israel as the gods. They did. And the children of Israel are the original pantheon of gods. That's who they are. They are the lower gods. So we can get that quick preset. This is Hebrews chapter 2, verse 7 through 9. And it says, you made them a little lower than the angels. That is the Israelites. They are the lowest gods in the pantheon. They are gods made men. Other than that, if they didn't have the man, the flesh, then they would be on the level of the archangels and the angels in heaven with Yahweh Shai and Yahweh Shem Shai, which is the Almighty Himself. So it says, you crown them with the glory and honor and put everything under their feet. And putting everything under them, God left nothing that is not subjected to them. So the time back in the days, we were gods, and in the future, when the world is born anew, we will be gods. And even in the end times, some of these Israelites will become gods once again. And then the rest of the Israelites that are born through the chosen, they will be gods too in the new world to come. So it says, yet at a present, we do not see everything subjected to them right now, because the rulers are on the ground. Like I said, I've seen princes on the ground and I've seen servants on horses. So that's everything is switched around. So it says, but we do see Yahweh Shai, who was made lower than the angels for a little while, now crowned with glory and honor, because he suffered death, so that by the grace of Yahweh he might taste death for everyone. That's the new covenant. That way, when Yahweh came to destroy the enemy, we wouldn't be destroyed with the enemy. So with that being said, that's what the new covenant is for, to graft us into the new covenant, and to for Yahweh Shem Shai, to the Almighty, to accept us into the agreement through the blood of Yahweh Shai. And he came down as a God in mortal flesh and died for the chosen. He died for the children of Israel, the chosen children of Israel, the ones that loved him and accepted him, which wasn't a lot, you know. And Yahweh Shai, he went to every hood, he went to every neighborhood, he went to most of the children of Israel, because I do believe they were under subjection to Greece, or no, Rome. And he was trying to get them to convert, and he was talking to them. He's talking to the homeless ones, he was talking to the rich ones, he was talking to the drug dealers, the thieves, the prostitutes. He was talking to a lot of people on his way to complete his passion. And a lot of people dropped everything. A couple of people dropped everything that they did, and the rest of the children of Israel just went about their day and ignored him. So he was asking them, to convert, and he like, no, I'm Hellenistic. No, I'm Roman. This is these different nationalities that they thought that they were. It's no different now today than African American or black. Different nationalities of what we consider ourselves to be in this world when we're not. We are, Israelites. We are gods, and it does say that, like Yahweh Bashim, like Yahweh Shai said, is it not written in the law that it says that you are gods? That law can't be broken. This law is still in effect to this day. It's just that we the Lord had to take it. The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. The Lord had to take away a lot of that from us, because we was living on the earth as men, and we were corrupted. So then we turned away from our power, and we turned away from the Lord, and we began to worship these idols, and began to integrate within these nations. Instead of ruling them, we wanted to be alongside of them. And that is disrespect. Because those are the regular. That's just flesh. They don't have they got the spirit of Yahweh, but they don't have it. The way the children of Israel got it. They got it. They got it all. So it's kind of disrespectful. And you can rule over them, and you can control them, but don't go down to their level and all that. And then we abandoned the Lord, which made it worse. So the Lord for a time took us as enemies, throughout history, throughout creation. And that's what it was. But Yahweh does love us, so he decided to take us back, and take us back for good through the new covenant. So that's what that's for. But like I said, the children of Israel were the original pantheon of the gods. They are, and they will always be. And they will return. We are returning to our original status, and it's based on just who we are, that makes us rich, that makes us awesome, that makes us eternal, and that's what the enemy is afraid of, because no matter what, you can't take the spirit of Yahweh. That's the most expensive thing, and it doesn't belong on the earth. It's the most expensive thing that the Lord can give, that he gave to the children of Israel, was his spirit. A piece of his spirit. That's what makes us special, and that's why the Lord says in the book of Revelation, blessed he that is poor, because I know that he's rich. Meaning that we got the most expensive thing. We got the thing that the white man can't have, which is Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai's spirit, and that new covenant promise that we would get the world, and that we would get the realms, we would get the power, we would get it all. And all the white man Esau got was just the world, and all the materialism, things that can be taken from him and given to another. That's all he got. So it says Siddhartha Gautama, most commonly referred to as the Buddha, the awakened one, was a wandering ascetic and religious teacher who lived in the eastern and Indo-Gangetic plains. It says during the 6th or the 5th century BCE, and founded Buddhism. According to the Buddhist legends, he was born in Lumbini, in what is now in Nepal. It says the royal parents of the Shakya clan, but renounced his home life to live as a wandering ascetic. Whatever the fuck that means. And, and it says after leading a life of mendicancy, it says asceticism and meditation, he attained nirvana at Bodh Gaya and what is now Bihar, India. The Buddha then wandered through the lower Indo-Gangetic plain, teaching and building a monastic order, Sangha. Buddhist tradition holds he died in Kushinagar in the modern day of Uttar Pradesh, India, and reached Parinirvana, the final release from the condition of existence, where he went to heaven, pretty much. So, you got the images of this guy here. Here, nothing but stone. It's not real. But people believed it to be, you know. And most of these gods that people worship today, they were actually black before they were white. I don't know. I know he was lean, and I don't know how in the hell he turned into this obese man. I don't know where the obese man came from because he is. That is not ideal. That is not ideal. That's nasty work. And he all happy and shit. Oh man. He lean in this one, and then for some reason they made him fat version of him, this obese version. And then the last one is the one that I hate the most, and it's the most dumbest one, but people worship it. This nigga right here, this thing right here, this thing right here, this thing got the head of a goat, which is an animal. He got the boobies of a woman, and then he got the body of a man, and then he got the goats. He got the leg of the goats, which makes no sense. Come on now. And then he got angel wings, and this is supposed to be the devil, which is the most disrespectful illustration of Satan ever. This Baphomet thing, this damn thing. Now it is attached to the occult, into satanic and black magic. Yes, that is true. But ultimately the image itself is just so retarded. And how could you worship this thing as a god? How could you worship this thing as a deity? Like, what is this? Like, come on now. Now it gets to a point to where it's like the imagination of man is limited. Like I keep saying, his mind is limited. It's ridiculous. This is a monster. I'm sorry, these are monsters. Like I said, monsters slash deities is all one and the same. But these things are fucking monsters. Like, and they don't make no sense. It's like mismatch. Like, what's wrong with his body? Like, why he got boobies? Why he got boobies? Like, I know it's symbolism, but could y'all make him look more, like divine? And then out of nowhere, Baphomet is different from Satan, which is ridiculous. And Baphomet is his own spirit. Baphomet is his own deity, which is stupid. But this nigga ugly, man. I'm sorry, he ugly. Now, nonetheless, the energy that the spirits, they call them demonic powers. Um, the energy that the spirits that are behind it are nonetheless supporting the idol of wood and stone. But other than that, for this right here, that's all that it is. But there are spirits that are behind these idols that do support, and give this thing somewhat of a power, or influence. But it's not the statue; it's whatever is behind the statue that's given it the power to do certain things, and the spirits around it. But other than that, this is just symbolic, you know symbolic of whatever it's trying to represent. And this is the imagination of men, and this is as far as it go. It's just ridiculous. Can't you make something else besides an animal mixed with a man? It's boring. Like, this is what the Lord was talking about. These people are retarded, they crazy. And at the end of the day, they're boring. Like, didn't I tell you that the main image, like it says, let us make man in our image, is the most divine form on the world. The man, more capable than any animal, more capable than anything that the Lord had ever created. You feel me? Even Esau got the body of the man, and look what he doing with the world. As capable, as powerful as the man is, no, nothing else is more feared than a man. So all this other stuff can go out of the way compared to the reality that we live in and what the Lord has commanded to be governed, and the rankings of things. So it's like, at the end of the day, like, y'all couldn't come up with any better ideas for these monsters and these idols and what they look like. So let's get a little bit more background over this thing. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. And it's a movie too. I had to check it out. But look at this. The man with goat horns and half man, half animal. What's with this? What's y'all mixing man and animal together? What is with that? Can't you do something else? Boring.
It might, I mean, it might scare people, but when you actually understand, look, he got female boobies. I'm tripping. They was running out of ideas when they was making these deities. They've been running out of ideas. They're like, man, how can we make a deity that people is gonna believe in and people gonna worship? You know, how we gonna make them? You know, like y'all running out of ideas, man. Come on now. It may look scary and all that, but when you understand the symbolicness and all of this, you know, you come to find out it's just kind of stupid. But when it comes to the knowledge and the things that are behind it that give this thing like some sort of life or something like that, you know, then it's more sinister, you know, because the symbolic and what it stands for. But other than that, it's just stupid. It's stupid. As creepy as it looks, it's stupid. Poor goat. You took the head, right? You took the head of a goat and you made it evil. When a goat is a wonderful animal, goats are awesome. Goats are funny as hell. Goats are gentle creatures, and you turned it into a sinister, demonic, symbolic symbol. The horns is a representation of a goat's power and a time of dominance when they in mating season. They compete with other goats, and they ram horns is designed to clash with other goats and to fight and for protection. And it's a sign of their power, and it's a sign that they are part of nature. It's no different than deer with horns that look like tree branches. They are a part of the earth. And look what they make the horns look more demonic, you know. And poor, I feel bad. Bro, I feel bad for the animals, man. With how they mutilate them and they make them look and make certain animals portray them to look evil. You know, like the snake, portrayed the snake to look evil when it's just a snake. The snake representation of a people or a race of people in the Bible. It's not this poor snake that's in the desert and they be like, God cursed the snake to crawl on its belly. No, it's not talking about that. It's talking about a man that he would forever fall and he would forever be one of the lowest creatures on the earth that the Lord had created. So it's like, you know, but the poor snake get criminalized. I don't like snakes. You know, snakes is the devil. Snakes is evil. And snake, he trying to survive. He trying to stay out of the way. He trying to eat and live just like any other animal. And he's portrayed to be one of the most wickedest things in creation. And he ain't got nothing to do with it. He's just a damn animal, you know? So it's just how it's all portrayed, you know? So we're gonna get a little bit of this thing, you know, and I'm gonna close out. Baphomet is a complex, goat-headed hybrid figure representing duality, occult knowledge, and the balance of opposites. Its origin spanned from 14th century to medieval heresy accusations to 19th century esoteric symbols and modern pop culture icons. Strange pictures of a cult. Look, the different organizations, you know, different organizations, different spells, different spirits that they uh, use it to give it life. You know, you can see it through the symbolism. But that's it. Let's get the last of this, and I'm going to wrap this up. It says Baphomet is an occult, pagan, and religious icon, and the anthropomorphic figure with the head and the legs of a goat and the body of a human. In the modern day, Baphomet, who is most would identify as Satan, goat, even though Satan don't look like that. Satan is actually a beautiful black angel. That's who he is, or dragon, as they would pronounce him, because he controls the evil part of the world, but he's not a rebel. He's not a fallen angel or nothing like that. No, he has all cosmic and supreme power through the power of Yahweh Shem Shai, and he is a servant of the Lord. That's it. That's it. That's all that Satan is. And Satan is even being criminalized. It's like, man, it's my job to do evil and to help create chaos. It creates the balance. Is his job. Why would I want to give that up and come down there and live with y'all when I got everything that I want up here? Even though he is on the earth, but he is a heavenly spirit, you know. So it doesn't run like people think it is. It doesn't run like that, you know. And Satan is up there in heaven. You know, he go up there in heaven. He be chilling with Yahweh and the angels and getting orders and receiving orders and going down to heaven and, you know, telling the spirits and, you know, other spirits what they should do. It's a whole business. It's a whole order of things. But what Satan want to fall down, and down here, and no, he got everything that he wants. He got everything he wants. And the angels see what happened to the children of Israel. They wouldn't want that to happen to them. No, they're like, nah, we gonna stay up here. You gotta understand. Angels ain't made like human flesh is made. They don't have the same emotions. They don't get horny. They don't get angry. They got emotions and all that, but everything is ran differently. They just not earthbound. They're not flesh. So the idea of the fallen angel Satan was made up. It was all made up. Satan ain't no fallen angel. He didn't rebel against the Lord because of man. He didn't overthrow. He didn't take a third of the angels and fight Michael because he felt like he was a better ruler. No wars like that happen in the kingdom of heaven. No wars, no rebellions. It's no need. The only rebel down here is the white man and his wicked people that follow him, and he is the counter offspring of Satan on the earth that does all the bad things. Everybody got a job to do at the end of the day. Everything is in order. Everything is as it should be. But at the end of the day, like I said, Satan, the way they did Satan and how they made him an enemy, it was a good idea from on high. Yahweh Shemel Shai. It was a good idea. It was a good lie, but all that it was an idea and it was a lie. That was it. That was it. Make him look like he the evil one and all that. The Lord is governed through all things. He controls everything. He controls everything. He runs everything. He's the one that put these ideas into men's heads. So we can get that. Let me get that real quick. It says Job chapter 33, verse 15 through 17. It says, in a dream and in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men. It says, in the slumberings upon the bed. It says, then he opened up the ears of men and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man. He controls everything. When men go to sleep at night, and all people do sleep. I don't care what nobody say. The Lord puts instructions into their minds and tells them what to do. So you get up. It's a blessing that you can get up and go to work and come home and be alive. It's a blessing that you can get up and take care of your children. It's a blessing that you can pay your rent. It's a blessing that you happen to score like $40,000 because of your business. It's different instructions that the Lord put in the minds of men and controls them. You don't got no free will. That's what that's talking about. There is no free will. I don't know what nobody else is saying about that, but that's not true. We got the sense and the feeling of a free will and do what we want, but we're all predestined. We all have a predestination. Everything is written. Everything is bound by commandment. So at the end of the day, no, there is no free will. You don't live once. You live multiple times. You don't just die and then that's the end of you and the Lord make a new spirit. The Lord don't make everything is old. Ain't nothing new. The Lord don't make no new spirits. There's no need to. Everything is designed. Everything is in its perfect order. Everything is created a certain way. So at the end of the day, yes, even the ideal of Satan, being this wicked, evil angel that goes against God, it was a cool idea. It was a cool story. The fallen angels, the Book of Enoch, and all of that. And the war. The book that's called Paradise Lost. All that shit is pretty fucking. It's pretty metal. It's pretty cool, but it's just lies. They're just stories. They're just ideas. It's far from the truth, And like the Lord said, to turn into the simple shall slay them. What you thought that was so hard to understand was actually so simple. It got you killed for you not understanding it. And this is easy. This is easy when you're under the right teachings. It's easy. So with that being said, let's read the rest of this. And it says Baphomet is an occult, pagan, and religious icon in the anthropomorphic figure with the head and the legs of a goat and the body of a human in the modern day. Baphomet, who is most would identify as the Satan goat and the symbol of the Church of Satan, a modern religious organizations. Scholars believe the term Baphomet likely originated during the Middle Ages when the European Christians fought the Turks during the Crusades. You see, it's an idea. They telling you. It says during the early 14th century, a Christian order called the Knights Templar was accused of heresy by the Inquisition for practicing Satanism by worshiping a bearded anthropomorphic idolater identified as Baphomet. Whether these allegations are true or fabric, however, is unknown. The Knights Templar was subsequently arrested on the order of King Philip, I think the fourth. I don't know. I forgot my Roman numerals. King Philip of France, tortured into confession and burned at the stake. And whoever knows if that's true, because the Knights Templars are still here to this day. So I don't think that's true. I don't think they just died and they were under investigation. No, they're still here to this day. They're an organization. So, with that being said, it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against rulers of darkness, against spiritual wickedness that dwelleth in high places. So, with that being said, all of the light and all the darkness comes from heaven. It comes from on high. Evil spirits come from on high. Judgments come from on high. Even these idols of wood and stone come from up on high. Magic comes from on high. Witchcraft comes from on high. All these things come from on high. And this is a lesson to learn what to do and what not to do, and to knowing that you may have a freedom of choice or whatever that is. It's not necessarily a freedom of choice. It's just a feeling to where you feel like you could do whatever you want and everything is predestined. But at the end of the day, you feel me? It's simple, things, learn what to do and what not to do, the difference between light and darkness. And that was one of the goals that the Lord had got the Israelites to that point, because the Lord is an awesome teacher. He teaches you, Yahweh teaches you that in order to be a God, you have to both know light and death, and darkness and death. So in depth, deep. This ain't no cakewalk, man. This ain't easy. In order for them to reach their godhood, we had to go through all of this. This was all predestined. So we know exactly what light is, and we know exactly now what dark is. It's a perfect balance on how to be a God. And us being lower gods, we still are part of the family of the pantheon of gods and the archangels and the powers. And Yahweh Shai, who is the general of all gods that the Lord had created. And then you have Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, which is the omnipotent, omnipotent, omnipresent Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, the creator of everything, the creator of all things. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, the king of spirits, the Lord of terror, the Ali Shaidra, which means demon power of Israel. That is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And with that being said, calling Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash, in the name Yahushai, I'm gonna dig more into this sometime in the future, with these gods and how ridiculous they look. But this was a pretty good start, proper breakdowns and these religions and all of that, and just how limited the minds of men are. It can only go so far. Like the Lord said, he would only allow the enemy to go so far, to where when he says enough, it's enough. And with that, shalom.